Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I'm snuggled up on my couch. It's a little chilly this morning. This is Erin Harrigan, your Hustle with Heart and Health Coach. But it feels good to be under this blanket. Welcome to our daily dose of success God's way, helping everyone align results to God's truth and helping everyone attain results for total health with Arbonne. Usually I say entrepreneurs, but it occurred to me yesterday that even if you're working in a corporate environment or a government job or whatever, you still have the opportunity to pursue success God's way. So this message is really for everybody who wants to bridge faith and business and really reflect Christ's light in their business world so that they can truly make impact. So today, we are talking about pride. So I named it Pride and Prejudice. And not prejudice, not that pride is about being prejudiced against ourselves, but I'm doing a Bible study by Priscilla Schreier on the story of Gideon. And I remember my friend Gina in Arbonne, about 5 years ago, I was really struggling in my business and just feeling like God was peeling back the layers. And he was, because I was really operating from a place of ego and pride. And he kept peeling back the layers of my business because God will move mountains to show you his will. He just will. And it is not always fun and often it is quite painful. And I remember her saying that it reminded her of the story of Gideon, where God strips down the Israeli army from 32,000 to 300 to defeat the Midianites and to prove the point that it was not Gideon that could take credit for it. It was not the Israelites that could take credit for it, but it was God's battle. And I wonder how many times in business we think, if I just go and do the work, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to reach this goal. And it's all about, I'm going to do it. And I think that sometimes we get confused thinking, well, yes, we're helping our team, we're helping our clients, so there is a community aspect to it. But yet, when the time comes for recognition to be laid out, we are going, yeah, I did that. And here's the bottom line, guys. For those of us who are Christ followers, our weakness is what makes him show up bigger in our lives. In our weakness, his strength shines. And so if we're spending the bulk of our time being proud and pointing to ourselves and look how hard I worked, and not giving God the credit for putting us exactly where we are at exactly the right time and exactly the right role to do exactly the things that he's called us to do, we're missing the point. One of the things that Priscilla Schreier says in here is that humility is not thinking unkindly about yourself. It's being willing to set yourself aside for God's more important purpose. So I want to read that again. Humility is not thinking unkindly of yourself. I think sometimes when we step back and we're giving God the credit, that those around us who perhaps are not followers of Christ or perhaps are not as strong in their relationship want to tell us, well, you're not giving yourself enough credit. And, God may have done this for you, but it was you too. And they think that we're being prejudiced against ourselves and that we're thinking unkindly of ourselves, that we're not lifting ourselves up enough in that. And that's the point, is that it's not about us lifting up ourselves. It's about us lifting up God. So it is being willing to set yourself aside for God's more important purpose. So I want to give you a few scriptures here, as always. So Psalm 10:4 says, "In all his scheming, the wicked arrogantly thinks there's no accountability since God does not exist." In Proverbs 13:10, "Arrogance leads to nothing but strife, but wisdom is gained by those who take advice." And in Proverbs, where was I just going? Proverbs 16:8, which I think is probably one of the more well-known verses about pride in the Bible. It says, is it 16:8? I don't know. I'll look it up and get back to you guys. Anyway, my point is, God really calls us to put ourselves aside and to give him the credit. And I think sometimes that when things are going really well in our business, we want to take the credit. And when things are not going well, we want to blame God. And the bottom line is, God's in the center of all of it. So as God-centered entrepreneurs, we have an obligation to reflect his light to the world and to give him credit where credit is due. And I think I mentioned this yesterday, but I'm going to say it again, that one of my mentors in my Arbonne business, Catherine Lutz, when asked about her success long ago, said, God opened the doors and I just walked through them. So I want to challenge you today to think about, where can you do a better job of putting yourself aside and giving God the credit, and to celebrate that, and to be public about that, to be bold in that. It takes courage to step out and give God the credit. It just does, because that is not how our world thinks. But we were not called to be adhering to the world's ways. We are citizens of heaven, and therefore we are to reflect a different light. And so I want you to remember that humility is not thinking unkindly about yourself, but it is putting yourself aside. So it's not being prejudiced against yourself, but it's about giving God the glory in all that you're doing. So I would love to hear how this resonates with you. Get down below, let me know. Get on over to our Success God's Way community. It is a community of like-minded business people who are building businesses that honor God and serve his people. And I'm getting ready to post our Tuesday question of the day. If you didn't catch my latest podcast, it dropped yesterday. So get on over. And by the way, I am so excited. We have almost reached 1,000 downloads in just 35 weeks. Like, what the heck? So you guys, my goal is to get to 1,000 downloads by October 31st. So please go listen to the podcast. Please leave me a review on iTunes. Share it with your friends. And I'm just so excited that this message is about growing a business and pursuing success God's way and hustling with heart is really getting some traction, because the world needs it. All right, that's it. If I can help you in this journey as your health coach, as your hustle with heart coach, I'd love to do that. And I wish you guys a fantastic Tuesday. See ya.